Good morning, guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Did everybody sleep well? Did you miss me? And which one of you schmucks was gonna fucking tell me TF2 had a horror community? Huh? Huh? I had to find this shit out on my own. I forgot the fishing game. I am schmoll today. I forgot that this was the model I opened earlier. I need the fishing game before Sunstar loses their shit. I guess extremely slow internet speed on Ordain. Nah, Ordain's European and probably lives in like one of the greatest metropolises on the planet. Yay or nay, Ordain? Am I getting close? Oh, goddamn it. Fuck you, you fucking outage warning thingamadoohickey. I guess PC explosion on Paleo. No, why do you keep casting like slow internet and PC crash and stuff? Tech problems are no laughing matter, Ordain. They're very stressful, especially when you make a living on your computer. This is new to you. I never knew it was a thing until like last week. Yeah, it was last week when I found out about it. And the thing was, I didn't even find out about Emesis Blue first. I found out about what was it? Server blight. That's what it was. I found out about server blight first, and then was like, what the fuck is this? And then there was another one on the side, and it was Emesis Blue, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna look up what this is kind of like so that I don't like watch the whole movie or anything. Hard drive deletion. Where'd my music go? Oh, I just turned it way too down low on my slider. Algo button deploy. God, that just gives me the image of the like fringe deployed. They like put down like a tiny cat or something. Oh my God. So how was everybody's Wednesday? Did y'all get in any trouble? Did you do anything fun? I went to I did my usual gym trip, and then I found a fucking taco truck. Chat, stick with me on this. Server Blight's a rising hit. Good. Stick with me on this. How much is a taco typically out of a food truck? If you live in America, or if you can like transfer your currency, how much is a taco out of a food truck typically? Like $3? You live in heaven, apparently. I cast hard drive deletion. Oh my God. Oh, so you're supposed, that's supposed to be English. You just fucking misspelled stuff. I was like, is that supposed to be goofy ass Latin? And I read it like it was goofy ass Latin. Going through my monthly spell of morning freakazoid. Well, you're gonna do that for the rest of eternity, probably. Unfortunately. Also, wait a second. What is this? Huh? Oh, teases new survivor. Oh, okay. Okay. Hi, Mike. Almost heaven. West Virginia. Blue Ridge Mountains. Shenandoah River. Anyway, no, but I was talking about the taco truck. Fucking who was the one that said Gunslinger said $3, which unfortunately is not actually the case here most of the time. Most of the time when I go to a food truck and it's like a taco truck, they will make some bougie ass claim that their tacos are $6 a piece. Especially like birria tacos. That shit's usually more expensive than like the regular tacos. But wait, I don't know any place that sells tacos near me. That makes sense, Ordain. I'm pointing to the Netherlands. I'm somewhere over there. just in that general area. We don't even have a Taco Bell here, let alone a taco truck. That's okay. You're not missing out on Taco Bell. Trust me. So the thing is, Taco Bell is no longer crazy affordable. You have to like get like annoyingly specific combo deals that they have, like their deluxe box and stuff. But bong. But this taco place I found, it's a green trailer just shoved in like the parking lot of another business. I think it's actually a junk store. I'm pretty sure the other business was a junk store. I didn't even go inside to see. But their tacos are $2.50. The regular tacos are $2.50 a piece, which one, already awesome. I wish I was joking, but that's actually beating Taco Bell's current price per taco. I think, if I remember correctly, I think the Taco Bell near me is like $2.74 per like basic ass taco. $2.50. $2.50. And then the birria tacos were $3.50. I had to ask the guy that worked there because the menu had the birria tacos on the menu, but it didn't have a price next to it and only had the price next to the regular tacos. And he was like, oh, $3.50. I was like, oh, I went three. I was like, oh, this will be great. And I get home and I take one bite out of the first one because I was also texting like Faye and Sai at the same time. And I go, oh, this was a mistake. Because it came with two different kinds of salsas. It came with its own like tub of consomme. And I was over the moon. I was fucking over the moon, guys. It's over for me. Taco Bell can burn to the ground for all I care. It's Jover. Listen, a place where I can get like 5 tacos and not break $20. Oh, I could kiss them. Oh, I could kiss them. You can't even do that at a regular Mexican restaurant anymore. A Mexican food can do that to a white girl. Listen here. Listen here a second. Hold the fucking floor. I used right. Listen. It's great though. It's good food and it's on the way home. It's like it's basically it's between me and the gym, which means now I have another place. The thing too is it's actually like down the same road as my favorite Cajun restaurant. It's just not nearly as far. Hopefully just kissing. Who we kissing? Who's kissing? I walked away for a second. How much were the tacos? $2.50 for a regular taco. So like that's like chicken, barbacoa, a regular steak, all that. They had a lot of different kinds. I just don't remember what all of them are off the top of my head because I only got birria at this time, and the birria tacos were $3.50. They were so good. They were so fucking good, guys. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, I haven't even told y'all the best part. Oh, what the fuck? I haven't even told y'all the best part though. There was a cat there, and if you haven't seen it in the Discord, I posted pictures of the kitty in the petting zoo section in the Discord. He's just cute little tabby that just came wandering up to me while I was trying to figure out what I wanted to order, and he hung out with me the whole time I was waiting for my order. I gave him so much loving. I haven't got to pet a cat in like over a year. So when he came up to me, I was over the goddamn moon. Tacos near me are $4.50. I'm guessing that's euros. So let's see here real quick. I'm guessing that's euros. So let me see here. That's $5. That's almost $5 flat in USD. That's almost $5 flat. It's $5.04. But, you know, as you do. That's probably going to change pretty soon. That transfer rate's probably going to change pretty soon. As they tend to do. What the fuck is this? Is that a strawberry orangutan? I'm not even going to give y'all context for that. I'm just so confused. Huh. Oh. Interesting. For good or bad, mostly bad. Cajun restaurant, $3.50 tacos and a friendly cat. Sounds like heaven to me. The Cajun restaurant's like... let me think. It's something like... Maybe another mile down the road. I think for good or bad, mostly bad. Listen, it's not going to be bad for the euro. It's going to be bad for the US dollar. Let me see real quick. Hold on. Let me see. World of Darkness. Hold on, I gotta do the thing. Hold on. Somebody was asking about TTRPG stuff, and now I have to answer because I'm a fucking nerd. Bad economy is bad economy for everyone. The USD is the biggest reserve currency in the world. It takes a lot of economies tanks. True. Kind of. 1 to 89. Yep. Yeah. What's your point? I got a bunch of fettuccine alfredo and shrimp scampi on sale yesterday, so I'm happy. Like, from a grocery store? I don't think restaurants typically put things like that on sale. Pass me the Trump thinks that this will get more jobs to America. Guys, we're going to become a production powerhouse again. Oh, really? Where are we going to get the materials to make all these factories? We're going to open the mines again? We haven't had mines since, like, the 70s, dude. It's certainly going to be a thing. It will be a thing of all time. And by thing, of course, I mean disaster. All right, chat, are you ready? Do chatters yearn for the mines? Are y'all ready to go back to the mining days with deregulation? Instead, now we're just going to go back to throwing people in the mines and blowing it up and not caring about the casualties. Has a sale of big boxes for like $2. Ooh. We don't have jack nor shit. You know, the good old days. Yeah, you know. Makes their shoes in Singapore. I think, don't quote me, because it's cheaper there. Yeah, most clothing companies, most, if not all clothing companies, except like very, very local places, produce all of their stuff in like Southeast Asia and China. Like, did they forget that? Did they forget that fucking because of globalization and because of various like different tax ratings and stuff, fucking so many companies just left their manufacturing in China are looking at implementing child labor again? Oh yeah. Wasn't it, didn't Arkansas already do that like a year ago? I forgot a word in the title. Did I forget a word? Did I a word? TF2 horror film. Why has no one told me this was a thing? Please and thank you. I did forget a word. A word. I can't believe a word. Forget implies the new in the first place. Yeah. When men were men, children were men, women were high, and the self-clock out rate was 50% higher. Yeah, let's bring back Quaaludes. Hey, where are you at? Get the Quaaludes out. Hold on. It had inherent. I'm forgetting how to spell inherently. Never mind, I figured it out. I'm so smart. Yeah, I think it was for 14-year-olds or 12-year-olds. I think you're right. It was teenagers. Premarital handholding is quite Quaalude. No, come on, Grins. Much smart. I'm so smart. God damn it. God damn. PowerPoint Man just did a great video about the whole tariff situation. Oh, boy. 10% tariff on an island of penguins? Yes, correct. And the argument they made was because they didn't want, quote, other countries cheating the system by shipping goods through the islands, which apparently, to be fair, is the thing that happened. Like, apparently on books, on like the World Bank, they have records that apparently last year they shipped, I think it was something like, apparently those islands shipped like $40,000 worth of goods, but the goods aren't listed as what they were. So, okay. But like, nobody lives on the island. It's just paperwork shenanigans. Close the loopholes. It's a rounding error. It probably is like, it's not just a rounding error. It's definitely like somebody being fucking cheeky to hide whatever they're shipping. It's just close those loopholes. Make like define what things can be shipped to and from places, and like basically just make it so that any paperwork that comes up that's like shipped from, well, what were they called? What were the islands called? Wasn't one MacDonald Island? Say like something shows up and it's shipped from like MacDonald Island. That shit gets turned away and or confiscated and like checked out. That's not something that you're just like, oh, okay. Put it in the logbooks. That island is uninhabited and has no infrastructure. Nothing can ship to or from it except penguins. And unless you're smuggling, oh my God, they're smuggling penguins. They're smuggling penguins, aren't they? The clown island is real. Remove loopholes. But Marin, what about the ultra rich? They need their loopholes. Yeah, what about the criminals who want to like sneak whatever things through the shipping channels without like having to worry about it, you know? What was it? Hold on. Oh, goodness. Didn't they delay it yesterday? They delayed it by like 90 days, except for China. And so China now has, I think it's what, 125% tariff? I'm pretty sure it's 125% tariff, which means anything being shipped from China is going to be more than double the price. 145, it changed again? You're joking. I remember seeing it yesterday on the news at 125. That's insane. That's so fucking stupid. Jesus Christ, dude. All right, chat. Y'all ready to pay $1,000 for TVs that are only worth about like less than 500? The thing is he's not thinking. That's exactly it. He's not thinking. It's like this weird, dumb, like power stance. 153. That is such a random number. Like, excuse me, I'm gonna sip on my gamer subs because I'm thirsty. Oh, this lime one's weirdly fucking good. Everything made from Chinese metal? True. Again, China became, we mentioned this Tuesday, not yesterday. I was using GPT. Yeah, they did do that. They did, in fact, do that. The chart that they showed off made no fucking sense. That, believe me, there are people studying it. There are people studying it. It's going to go down in history. Yeah, here, let me see if I can find the picture. Trump's tariff chart. Okay, I need the picture. Okay, this is the picture of it. Actually, we'll do this picture of him next to it, of him holding it like a jackass. Reciprocal tariffs, he says. Reciprocal tariffs. Okay, hold on a second. Look at this smug fucking bastard. Tariffs charged to the US. Sure. Sure. The thing that's even funnier, though, these aren't even real numbers. These aren't the real numbers. These are made up. Wherever they generated this from, the whatever generated it made these numbers up. These aren't real. Who the fuck is getting tariffs at 97%, 61%, 64, 47? That would be Cambodia. That looks like Cambodia being taxed at 97%. We can also see the whole thing right here. Let me just, there we go. Based on spending money. Yeah. Vietnam, 90%. Is it really? We're in Vietnam. Yeah. They're still bitter about losing the war. Don't you know? Don't you know? But they also put something up here. It says, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. Sure. Sure. Who decided that running the country should work like the scoring for Whose Line Is It Anyway? You are correct. And also for a split second, when I turned my head, I saw Bangladesh down here, and I honestly thought it said Bangladesh, and I was like, oh my God, there's a misspelling. No, wait, it's spelled right. Never mind. I genuinely thought for a second that there was Pakistan 58%. Bullshit. Bullshit. How much shit countries buy American stuff and how much they sell to America. Nothing says buy more American shit than increasing the price of everything for petty reasons. Yeah. Jackass. Jackass. All right, back to the other screen. From what I can tell, the Trump administration did some funky math where they subtracted the imports and the exports and then divided that by 2. That's just bad economics. Yeah. Sri Lanka at 88%. What do we trade from Sri Lanka? Dates? I imagine it's dates. I'm guessing. But, oh, I still haven't answered that TTRPG question. Hold on a second. Thing is, they isn't directly punishing those countries. They're taxing on U.S. citizens to stop us from buying their stuff. Yeah. And we don't really manufacture much of anything in the U.S. anymore. Name a TV brand that's still made in the U.S. Is there even a TV brand that's still made in the U.S.? I don't think even any of the consoles, any video game consoles are made in the U.S. I don't think there's much manufacturing for, like, say, computer parts, even in, like, Silicon Valley. I think most of their manufacturing is actually across the ocean. But that doesn't factor in for some reason. Or duh, Nintendo 2. 2 is an American number. Y'all know numbers are Arabian, right? The number system we used came from... Yeah. A late edition from our friends in Arabia. A big fat goose egg. Oh my goodness. Listen, yeah, y'all didn't know like the letters that the world uses, basically universally, are Arabian. The Arabian Peninsula used to be they're basically the Arab world as a whole. North Africa all the way into the Arabian Peninsula used to be the golden era, an area of mathematics and science. Up until the conservative resurgence of Islam. But even then, when they were still Islamic, they were still very high in math and sciences. It's just when they had like the kind of the conservative-esque revolution was when it got really bad. No, not Arabian 9. God damn it. Fuck you, Grins. Arabian mathematicians developed to 0? Yeah. Yeah. By the time it got to the US, yeah, the Islamic Golden Age was an incredible flourishing of culture and sciences. Yeah. It's a fun little period in history. Especially when you get to see like the culture and like architecture from that period. It's fucking insane. You can't own a number? True, but it's funny when somebody's like, when somebody was just like, I don't know who said it. I don't want to scroll up to go find it. But somebody said like, it's an American number. It's 2. I was like, hate to tell you. I know, Grins. I know you were joking. I just thought it'd be a good time for a tiny lesson. Try doing math with Roman numerals? I mean, I could. Oh my God. Okay, speaking of Roman numerals, chat. Jesus fucking Christ. I need to know. Has anybody seen Beast Games? Just out of your sheer curiosity, has anybody watched Beast Games? Fuck that shit. Good. Good. I'm glad none of y'all have seen it. I'm beasting it stuff. So there's the thing. It's so fucking bad, you guys. So with Beast Games, I couldn't even bother watching the whole series, so I had to go watch like a crunched synopsis on it. And it drove me insane because just about like the first 4 challenges, quote unquote, was basically just boiled down to Mr. Beast being like, will you please give up? We bought 1,000 of you and we can't actually house all of you. So you all like, oh, more than 50% of you have to leave right now. And that was the first challenge. They all stood on squares and were told, you have to leave. You like 50% of you have to choose to leave. And some people did, but it was so like poorly directed and written that the people that were like having these like dumb as shit like heartfelt like I'm willing to give up on this dream so that other people have a chance, and it's like, you don't know these people, you just got here. Are we supposed to know who you are? What the fuck is happening? And then when like they didn't get enough people leaving, they were then like, all right, we're going to start bribing people with money. And so it basically went like, we're going to start bribing every person who's still here with X amount of money, and it's going to go up over time. And if the person accepts the money, they get to stay, and all the people in their row, because this was set up like a grid, all the people in their row have to leave. It's literally a selfish game. And that was most of the challenges. There were so many challenges that were just, we're going to try to bribe you with money and you're going to be the winner of the money and nothing bad's going to happen to you. Granted, there were some that's like, we're going to bribe you to leave and you'll get X amount of money and you can just go. But there was also some that's like, you just get a whole bunch of money and then you stay and everybody else gets fucked. There was so much like money giveaway, quote, challenges. Again, it's so bad, you guys. It's like he doesn't understand what makes a good game show or what even made like Squid Games enjoyable. The drama is attempted, but there's no connection because they had so many players that like you would try to get attached to a person and then they would fucking lose. There's even one point where they throw like 3 people into a box, like 3 people into a whole bunch of different boxes. And the goal is to play a game to figure out who out of the 3 people is going to leave. And one of these plot hooks that they try to do is in one of the boxes is 2 brothers. I can't remember what their names are. I remember their last name started with an R. And a girl. The girl is the random out of the 3 of them. And it turns out that the 2 boys rigged the game they were going to play so that no matter what, the girl was going to lose and she was just going to have to leave. They purposely rigged it so that this poor girl never stood a chance in this game. And like their whole thing was that they just snickered about it and laughed about it with Mr. Beast. Like when Mr. Beast came in to like talk to them, they were just like laughing in the corner while she's like crying in the other corner because she's already lost. Or there's even just like, they'll cut to like another box. And there was one guy who was like really flamboyant because I remember his voice. And they all agreed at the beginning that like, we're going to do rock, paper, scissors. And whoever loses has to leave. And this guy lost best 2 out of 3 like twice. And every time he lost, he was just like, no, let's do it again. I'm not leaving. Let's do it again. And he was just so bad at it, kept losing the games, that at some point I think Mr. Beast had to like go in and tell him to fucking leave. Pulled a Vinny, what a piece of shit. Good TV would have been to Uno reverse and boot the cockheads. Okay, but the thing with this too, everybody in this whole fucking show was a fucking cockhead. There was even a point, this was towards the end where there was only like a few people left, and they had a challenge where they had a stack of, I think it was $1 million. I think they had a stack of $1 million in a box. And the thing that there was 10 people left. And the thing is people could just pick how much they wanted to take. And in a group, they all pretty much agreed that they were just going to take 100,000 each and be happy. You know, it was either 100,000 or 1 million, the total cost. It doesn't matter. I just remember the percentages from this. I'm pretty sure it was $1 million. because no. The first two or three people took the like 100,000 that they promised, and then one motherfucking piece of shit walks up there and goes, "I'm taking 694,000." It was like some random number like that that basically just left pennies for the other six people, comparatively pennies for the next six people. And he was so fucking smug about it and tried to like, they did like an interview with him after, and he was like, "I gotta think of my family and work really hard for this." Even though before he tried to like play like this weird altruistic nonsense. But hold on real quick. The reason I brought Beast Games up was because somebody mentioned Roman numerals. About midway through the Beast Games, they have a point where they have to do trivia. And it's like team versus team trivia. And so they ask questions. And I wish I was joking. These questions were embarrassingly easy. And yet the people in these groups did not know the answer or would have to deliberate for like a long ass time. One of the questions simply was, what is the Roman numeral for 100? And it was a solid, like, I think it was 4 minutes of actual screen time of them like panning through the teams, of them talking to each other, trying to remember or figure out what it was. And I was like, oh my God, these people are idiots. Yeah, it's C. It's so easy. It's for century. But it was like, I can't remember what some of the other questions were on it, but I remember hearing like 2 or 3 of the questions that they asked in this trivia round and just being fucking dumbfounded, because these people, they like asked the question, and then the one person who was supposed to be up to like hit the buzzer or something would like turn around and walk back to their team and be like, I'd be like, I knew the answer halfway through the question. Where are you going? Are you serious? I swear he did it on purpose. I swear he just grabbed a whole bunch of morons on purpose. I mentioned this too before. This was probably the, God, the weird thing too is he built like this, we'll call it a town, for the whole thing. And throughout the whole time, he's just pitching it as like, Beast Games is after all about a bunch of people getting together and having fun. Oh, hey, gamer subs. And that made no sense. That made no fucking sense. Everybody was definitely there, like, over the money and stuff. But he had this weird, like, second plot idea of it being, like, about being fun. And I never understood it. 18 to 25 are dumb. The thing was, they had middle-aged and older people there. One of the, like, I think the last 6 people was like a 50-year-old man. The guy who took the 694,000 was in his 50s. He had a gray beard. I'm pretty sure, if I remember that right, he had a gray beard. Okay. They were there for the cash and no other reason. Oh, for sure. The dumb thing was, though, is there were so many of these, all right, guys, some of y'all have to give up and go home challenges, or like, we're going to bribe you to leave challenges in heavy ass air quotes. They're so heavy they could break the fucking floor. That it was so fucking boring. It was basically just like, oh yeah, we know we totally oversized this competition because we wanted like the world record or some shit. So now we're just going to pay you all to leave. And if you decide to leave on your own without being paid, then you're a schmuck. Bye. But God, I mentioned this, I think this was a few days ago. One of the earlier challenges after like the 50% drop off and then even more drop off, they go to was it Beast Game City or whatever it's called? And there's 2 towers that are attached to each other by bridges, and they use it for a bunch of challenges. The first time they use it, though, is they have to throw a ball. The teams are in one tower, team in another. They're throwing a ball between the towers, and whoever drops the ball loses. Well, 2 of the teams go at it for something like, I think it was like 40 plus minutes, Not in thing, but they like skip through it and they say it's been like 40 minutes. And then one team suddenly drops the ball. The girl can't catch it and she drops it and they're supposed to lose. Mind you, this has been going on for 40 minutes, or at least over 40 minutes. And suddenly one guy on the opposing team, the team that was now supposed to win, some curly ass motherfucker walks up to the ref and goes, actually, I dropped the first ball they threw at me. And they go back and replay the camera footage because they had something like 30 or 40 cameras for the Beast games. And so there was a camera on this dude. And yeah, he drops the very first ball that the other team threw towards them and then just didn't say anything till the end when they had already won. And like the whole team hated him. The whole team told him to go fuck himself. And like Mr. Beast was just dumbfounded too. Like you could tell he was like very confused why this guy came forward at the end. It made no sense. It made no fucking sense. Chat, are you okay? Did chat die? Oh my God. Did Europe explode? What happened? Where'd everybody go? Hello? Beeps. It was, I don't know. It was just... I hate it. I hate it. Please and thank you. We fished all of Europe. I can't believe Europe has no more fish. I mean, I guess I share a home state with Mr. Beast. Christ. I don't think anybody even shares the same planet with Mr. Beast. I don't know what world that dude fucking lives on, but it is not Earth. It ain't Earth. Pixels. Nom 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 nom. Yeah. Y'all can't see it. So smooth. So smooth. But... Oh, God. God, I hate Mr. Beast. I do, too. I'm pretty sure there's something fundamentally wrong with that dude's brain. Can I name it exactly where it is? No, because I'm not a psychiatrist. Oh, wait, what is this? Oh, okay, I see what this is. Yes, what can I do for you? I cast ocean to lands. Isn't that just called a tsunami? Isn't it? Isn't that just a tsunami? I think that's what it's called. Right? Question mark? I still can't believe they put the cow in the fucking Mario Kart game. That shit's insane. Jesus, what the fuck? Sorry, chat. I'm pretty sure this is a mobile game. Why is this girl wearing a fucking balloon for pants? Well, yeah, wait, I guess change the ocean to land? Oh no. Well, we kind of need that water. That water is part of the water cycle. Oh my God. If I see another fucking person do an outfit redesign and their outfit redesign is just lingerie, I'm gonna lose it. Debuts gets bonked. The number of people I have seen debut a raunchy-ass model that is basically just lingerie or the skimpiest swimsuit imaginable, get bonked on their debut stream, and then throw a fit is too damn high, and I'm no longer gonna fucking coddle it. You stupid. You know the rules. You thought you were above the rules. Is that... I know it's Vivi. Is that a bonk? Oh, it is a hammer. Oh, wait. Is that the hammer... Is that a small version of the Hope Hammer from Monster Hunter Wilds? Amazing. We live in a society. Is louder than I expected. The ode to joy, that's the point. Who got bonked? Nobody's gotten bonked yet for it, but I at least not to my knowledge, for the specific person that I was just looking at, I don't think they've been bonked. I do know people in the past, though, that have been bonked, that have done stuff like that. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking to see if there's anything new going on Twitter, but there's doesn't seem... Who the fuck is Marina Diamandis? I have no idea who that is, and why is she showing up on my feed? Okay. Ooh. Wait, a YouTuber made an original manga called Monsters We Make? That's awesome. That's kind of awesome in its own little way. Grab the bats, we're going bonking? That's not a bat, that's also a hammer. Wait. I was like, why is it turning blue? And it's supposed to be like the arc of the hammer, but it doesn't make any sense. Can I bring a gun? No. This is a melee fight. Come on. Super Smash Bros. Melee! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh. Oh. Well, wait, what is the fuck is this? Oh, it's League of Legends. Okay. I was like, what is this trailer? They made another cinematic fucking trailer with LeBlanc and fucking... I almost said Victor. It's not Victor. It's Vlad. It's Vladimir. Also, Vlad looks fucking sick. Good lord. 2025 in a nutshell? Tell me about it. Tell me about... I'm bringing a gravity hammer. The Halo gravity hammer? God, I haven't thought of that in a long time. My only weapon is shark? I mean... I'm trying to remember. What was the... There's a weapon and... Is it a greatsword? I think it's an iced greatsword in Wilds. That's literally just a frozen swordfish. I've tried to pick up greatsword recently, but it's so fucking slow and clunky that, like, I haven't been able to quite figure it out, and half the time I get myself killed because I'm doing high rank shit. I did make the mistake at one point of being like, yeah, I could do greatsword against Zoshia. And I pull out the greatsword, I get like 3 really good hits in, and then she just dumpsters me, and it was so funny. Yeah, the frozen spear tuna. To battle? Oh god. Ordain, where did you get those sharks? What are you going to do with those sharks? Interesting. Jeff? Jeff? What about Jeff? They're going to conservate with the shark. Conservate? What? What? No, no! Those are animals! Well, technically humans are animals, but that's besides the point here. That's besides the point. Okay. I like the food weapons in Monster Hunter. The cheese fondue spear was... Wait. There was a cheese fondue spear? Oh, no. Tweedle tweet. I'm an animal tweet. No. Do not insinuate on essentially having sex with animals. That's fucked up. I mean it, Grins. Oh, sorry. No, that was Hollowed Eye. What a well-done steak hammer. Wait, that's hilarious. Wait, which hammer was that? I never got that hammer. Boy, I was being a bird. Not Grins. Sorry. It was Hollowed Eye. They're going to conservate with the sharks. Conservation. How do you do conservation? It was the fire hammer. That's what it felt like, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. This reminds me of a joke. No. Wait. What game is this? Is this? Oh, he was live. Wait, is he playing? Is this Path of Exile again? Is this from the stream of Elon Musk playing Path of Exile and someone has a character named Elon Musk is pathetic, spamming still not over Grimes, she never loved you over and over in chat? Amazing. Amazing. Fantastic. Bully the rich. Oh. Gonna go ahead and save that one. You magical foxes with universal power, sure. Eat the rich, eat the rich. Well, hey, listen, you can bully the rich from afar. When you get close, you can eat them, okay? It's fine, we'll work it that way. But until then, keep bullying them. It's funny. And they deserve it. And they deserve it. The swirly to someone more than Elon Musk? Ah, yes, Elon Mustard. The elongated muskrat.
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't spread over every egg.
Oh, who the fuck? Elijah Schaefer. Oh, a journalist, I guess, for CEO of the Rift TV. What is the Rift? Sorry, chat. A media and news company. So this guy took the people from this Rift TV to go see the Minecraft movie, and they bought like the largest popcorn imaginable. And apparently at the chicken jockey scene, they just went absolutely buck wild and covered the entire movie theater in popcorn. Oh my God, the fists I would throw. Like, here, I'm gonna show you all this video because it's only like 8 seconds. So real quick, we'll swing over here. I hate this. I hate this so much. No music. Why? Why? What's the point? How old are you? What kind of dumb as shit food fight trigger word is this? I guess. I don't know. I don't know. It's insane. It's so fucking stupid. I will never understand people. That's like, I already feel bad if like I'm sitting down with like my full bucket of popcorn and like I accidentally lean too far to the side and some popcorn falls out. I feel terrible. I feel terrible every time that happens. That reminds me though, I need to see what movies are currently out really quick, because now that I watched that video, I really want movie theater popcorn. Oh God, there's another Jesus movie. Oh, The Amateur is out. Okay. The Woman in the Yard. Everything else is extremely meh. Extremely meh. Cleaned it with their mouths, eat it off the floor. We need to do more. We need to let the fucking theater employees force those people to clean that shit up with some public shaming. We need to bring back public shaming. The virtual city square of shame is not enough anymore. We need the entire town to tie them to poles and point and laugh. We need a nerd merit emote like this. Actually, we haven't actually emote. I'll be adding it whenever 2.0 we have the 2.0 debut. Bring back the tomatoes. Do it. Do it. Entire country to do it? Nah, we need like the county. The county is probably enough. Oh, good lord. Hold on real quick. I'm just gonna make sure I don't accidentally do a thing here because suddenly my fucking Twitter feed went rancid. I'm very glad that...
Enjoy the show!
Hey, Mr. Creepypasta, welcome in. How are you doing? What trouble are you getting into? What shenanigans are you up to on this Thursday? We're going to be getting into the... okay, ad breaks in 5 minutes. We're going to be getting into Emesis Blue after the next ad break. Because it is, and I wish I was joking, a full feature film at almost an hour and 50 minutes. I think it's an hour and 48. Let me see. Yeah, hour 48. I'm kind of excited. Is it bad I'm excited? Do I need to go make popcorn? In the Minecraft movie, there's one scene in which the character played by Jason Momoa is up against someone in a fighting ring, the opponent being a reference to a notoriously difficult mob spawn in Minecraft known as the chicken jockey, a baby zombie atop a chicken. Hype is being caused due to Jack Black's exclamation and acknowledgement of the mob. Yeah. Yeah. It's still stupid. I have one bag of popcorn that I can pop for this. I only have one, and I know it's there because I saw it last night. I've seen some scenes of it and some bits and pieces here and there when I was like looking around. No, we're not watching Minecraft. We're not watching Minecraft. We're gonna watch Emesis Blue. We're gonna watch a TF2 horror film. I'm sorry if that got confused. I was complaining because apparently a news company called The Rift took all their employees to see the Minecraft movie, and when they got to the chicken jockey scene, they went completely buck wild and covered the entire movie theater in popcorn. And it's so fucking stupid. I hate it. I hate it so much. No more popcorn? I only have one bag of popcorn. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I see the shit cousin been a fucking carnival. Oh, is that an ordain? What do you want about? What are you on about? What trouble are you getting into? What shenanigans are you up to? My popcorn family cries and pop? Hmm? Oh, pop. Not the worst mess I've seen people leave in a movie theater. Okay, that's true. There are worse things to clean up in a movie theater than probably just a very large pile of popcorn. But can you imagine, though, having to clean the popcorn out of all the seats? Because those guys literally just, like, threw that shit into the air. So it's going to be in the seats, under the seats, in between the cushions, fucking behind the seats. What do you mean a kid shitted in FNAF? What do you mean a kid shitted in FNAF? Explain. Explain right now. Right fucking now. Like, I know about the... what do you call it? I'm trying to remember. Cucumbers. We'll go with cucumbers in certain movies, like 50 Shades. Grins explain. Kid dookie on the floor in FNAF. Are you fucking serious? Based on a horror game? Yeah, but if the kid has risk of just shitting on the floor, you should probably have a fucking diaper on or some shit. Like, what? Almost had to clean up after Van's dookie while working in a Broadway play. What? Wait, why are we talking about theaters and people shitting on the floor? It smells. That's fucking gross, dude. Jesus. What the shit? Yeah, I mean, listen, we kind of ran face first into it. with like, I guess saying how like what's the like that's just gross shit you could do in a theater. Hello, oh my god. Broth! Where your ass at? Oh, I hate this. Oh god, they made a special edition stream deck. Anyway, moving on from that. Elgato, you have like 2 good appliances and the rest are just overpriced nonsense. There, I said it. And now I'll never be able to partner with Elgato again. No idea tangents are a hell of a thing. Trust me, I know. I like my tangents. Where's the broth girl Hooters? Are you thinking of Cooters? Are you thinking of the virtual Hooters, aka Cooters? You can find that on Twitter and Blue Sky. I actually do have some art by that person. And I'm in one of the height things that they keep making. Stream Deck. Of course, that shock emote's gone, Sunstar. It's gone. I'm sorry. Blue Sky Mission. Hi, Incinda. We need to bring back enforced theater etiquette. I agree. Oh my goodness. Hold on, I need to check something. Good lord. I swear I know this artist from somewhere. Why do I recognize this art style? Who are you, mysterious stranger? Oh well. Oh well. Never mind then. Never mind then. Oh, hold on a second, guys. Let me go ahead and hide in my little corner. Give y'all the game that I totally didn't, in fact, not open because I'm stupid and just thought I did it. Wow. Look at me. I don't know. Shit. Load, damn you. Okay. There we go. Sorry, chat. I'm sorry, chat. I forgot your iPad. I forgot your iPad. Bring back ushers that'll throw you out for misbehaving. Oh my god, please. It's not more me, but more importantly, how could you? The thing is, though, is like movie theaters too also run on a far worse like skeleton crew than like frankly any other industry. Like over the years, theaters have just started having less and less employees. Professional streamer, professional. Fun fact, you're a professional if you get paid for it. And I do in fact get some money. I won't say it's great, but I do in fact get some money. Therefore, professional. Good lord, what? How do you get away with an outfit like that? Oh. Oh. Wait, who the fuck did this art? I want to know the artist. Who did this art, goddammit? Ah, son of a bitch. Oh well. Oh well. Taking over funding from the carnival that needed for Legos. And the therapy sessions from those losses of emotes. There's another shock emote though, Sunstar. It's better and it's not a tier 2. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But I'm going through, still trying to figure out. They are de-extinct werewolves. They're genetically, yeah. Okay, I was about to say. I'm looking at like people retweeting the fucking Times article. Ah, they're not even direwolves at all. Oh, it's not like they found genes that they could implant. No, they're just genetically modified, probably to be bigger. Stupid. God, fucking Sensationalized science is always entering Blackberry Dr. Pepper. I know, I've had it. Look, I zoned out for the first many minutes. I know nothing. Yeah. I told Maki the other day when we were playing the drug game, that I really liked her shock emote. It was so cute, and she made me one. So I kept forgetting to upload it. Listen, Ordained, you keep using that emote. Do you want to see what the other ones, what our new one's gonna look like? Let me see. I know I have it. There it is. I'm gonna make this smaller. There you go. There's our actually emote. Actually. Oh, hold on. This one actually has actually. Nerd! Says the one who went to the fabric store today. Different kind of nerds. Apparently direwolves are more related to jackals than gray wolves. Really? I saw gay weed. What of it? I still can't get over the Oh my god. Okay. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. Who are you calling a nerd? I am a nerd. I am in fact a nerd. I think, but I was gonna say I was more interested in the Oh. I was more interested in the goofy ass wolf one, the lizards, the beautiful lizard fabric. No, the wolf one is so funny to me. I want one of the, oh my god. Somebody made the fucking warrior axe from Final Fantasy XIV, the like default warrior axe, and turned it into a controller. He made it into a motion controller. Calls us nerds while she can rattle off the esoteric rules of Mage the Ascension. A game I have yet to play ever. My entire knowledge on Mage the Ascension is entirely theoretical. Listen, it's fine. It's fine. The three wolves, the fabric, yes. I need it as like an, like, oh, one of those obnoxiously huge, like fluffy short sleeve button up shirts. That's what I need it to be. That's exactly what I need it to be. You free for that session 0 next weekend? Not this weekend, but the next weekend? Is that what you're asking? Oh. More Love, Death, and Robots? I don't think I ever saw the third season. I fucking love Love, Death, and Robots, dude. It's such a good series. It's so fun to see all the different like animation styles and stuff. It's so fun and goofy and cute. Also learning that there's a VTM TV show in the 90s. I think it was the early 2000s. It's Kindred the Embraced, yeah. It's terrible. Don't go watch it because it fucking breaks what the games are actually like. Oh, holy shit. Oh, holy shit. Hold on, chat. Faye, I'm gonna put something in the group that's absolutely fucking batshit. Hold on a second. All right. Chat, do you want to see the thing? Because I promise you you're not going to like it. I promise you you're not going to like it. I'm just going to take the screen grab instead of like show you my my Twitter thing. So, we'll swing over here. I didn't edit this. This is, where is it? It's right here. It's literally right here. Like the lady from fucking, I know what game this is. The name always just escapes me. It fits, and that's the scary. It's absolutely fucked. It's absolutely fucked. Do we want to see? I mean, we could always just. I think it's in reference to the tariffs. Basically just like saying to other countries, if you don't make retaliatory tariffs, then you'll be rewarded, which I guarantee you nothing is going to happen. The tariffs are going to stay the same and there's not going to be anything fucking else. It's so fucked, dude. That's so fucked. All right. Sent you my favorite. Oh no, what have you done? Not the fucking sun fucking mask dude from Skyrim. Skyrim? Was it Skyrim or was it the one before it? I forget the name. Morrowind? Was Morrowind the one before it? I don't remember. Dagoth Ur, that's it. I remember the fucking, I'm not gonna lie, the racist Dagoth Ur posts back when like people started playing with like the AI voice of him were kind of funny. They were kind of funny for like in-universe racism. To buy the dip before reversing some tariff? Oh my fucking god. Yeah, I'm not surprised he's doing active market manipulation. Who would have thunk? Who could have imagined? Truly a mystery. Oh, it's not even pretty much. It literally is. Oh my god. Christ. All right, moving on. Shock, shock, surprise, surprise. Who'da thunk? A rat in the business? A rat in the business? Oh my goodness. It's almost like politicians have been doing that since the inception of the United States and the inception of the global markets. You know, as people in power tend to do. Listen, if somebody wants power, like if somebody is absolutely livid on like gaining power for power's sake, I can almost guarantee you they're not a good person. They're not a good person and they're probably not doing it for good reasons. Good people don't typically rise to the top. Did you know that you're a triangle? I'm a what? Power doesn't corrupt. No, power also can corrupt. I've seen some people become big streamers and watch them absolutely turn rancid. I'm an oblong. Oblong. Like the old, what is it? Adult Swim show? Hi, Fire Chief. Among the U.S. Navy, submarines are the only ship class still equipped with deep fat fryers. Because submarines have much higher morale problems, it's been determined necessary to have. That's awesome. Okay. So let me double check. By deep fat fryers, do you mean like the open top fryers, or do they have like a pressure fryer? Like KFC pressure fryer style? Because if y'all didn't know, that's the secret to KFC's chicken. And I'm pretty sure also Chick-fil-A's. I'm pretty sure they both use pressure fryers. Interesting. Wait, why do I have this tab? What is this tab? Who are you, strange woman? Oh, I think I accidentally clicked a thing. Oh. Oh. Interesting. Open to a shift sounds like a bad idea. I figured it'd be pressure fryers. It would make sense if it was a pressure fryer. I worked at Open Top. Oh. When you work there, did they still have like the required like declaration of faith? Because I'm pretty sure, I don't remember when they instituted that. I'm pretty sure it was like 2019, maybe a little earlier. I don't remember for sure. But I remember at one point there was a news debacle on them having instituted in their employment like application and stuff a like declaration of faith. 2016. Okay. Steel plate lids that would be closed during maneuvers. Oh. Hmm. What are you guys talking about? The submarines having fryers, but we're about to be getting to Mrs. Blue shortly. We'll be getting there in just a little bit. But I'm still trying to see if there's anything interesting going on. Okay. Oh, good lord. How many Miku jokes can there be? I I'm gonna say something and somebody's probably gonna shoot me for it. I don't understand the appeal to Miku or like any other Vocaloid. I heard Miku no or Dane no. God damn it. No, I don't understand the appeal. I just don't. I don't get it. Oh, good lord. Okay. I respect Miku as the software. Same appeal as VTubers, but different flavor. I don't know if it's the same if it's computer generated. Cause like, right? I feel of AI voiceovers without the stealing part. I don't like AI voiceovers either. I don't like AI voiceovers at fucking all. It's basically your favorite character singing any song. But wasn't Miku made as like an original character specifically for all that? Right? Could be wrong. Miku had a VA? Did she? I don't. Here, let me see. Okay, let's see here. Saki Fujita, professional voice actor, voice provider for Hatsune Miku. She was born 1984 in Tokyo, Japan. Okay. Huh. Okay, she only provided the voice samples, the original voice samples. But other than that, she does like a lot of singing for a lot of animes. Good lord. Like, Log Horizon 2. I still need to go rewatch Log Horizon. I've been wanting to do that for a while. I like the Log Horizon anime. And different people literally too to get different sounds and words. Yep. Yep. But oh, good lord. I'm sorry. I scrolled down and I saw Saint Seiya cosplayers. I was not ready. I was not expecting to see a subway and then somebody pan to the side and then have 12 Saint Seiya cosplayers in full cold armor. Actually, kind of impressive. I can respect it. Oh. All right, chat. Are we about ready to get to Mrs. Blue? I don't know if this is like the pinnacle of what do they call it? Just the pinnacle of these like horror films, but from what I've seen, the production quality for this thing is shockingly insane. It's nuts. But Faye, is the green creature doing anything? Do y'all want to come watch the movie and do this mystery science theater style? By chance? By chance? I think it'd be funny to do that. But we don't have to if nobody wants to. We might get a horror game located in the Deep South. I forget the name. South of Midnight. Didn't that come out, what's today, the 10th? It came out 2 days ago. Green Creature might be free? I don't know. Is she ever free? I don't know. What the fuck? Okay. Yeah, I need to do more. Yesterday I spent a few hours getting fucking footage for the asset flip video. But then I realized when I finished the ones that I already had downloaded, and I was like, okay, I need to go do Phasmo. I was like, oh, I don't have Phasmophobia downloaded. Shit, better download it. And by the time it was done, I had tabletop time. Oh my goodness. All right. Looks pretty cute so far. I don't think I've seen anybody playing it, and I'm pretty sure they ghost dropped it. Maybe. I don't know for sure. I really don't know for sure. It kind of feels like it, though. It does kind of feel like it. All right. Let me go ahead and tuckle these away. We could go ahead and swing right on. No, I don't want. I wish I had a theater setup that was better. I wish I did. I really do. Hi, Battling Con. How are you doing? Welcome in. All right. Chat, are you ready for Emesis Blue? I don't know the exact like story and plot of this thing is, but I think technically like universe-wise, I think it's supposed to take place like after the kind of like all the battles in TF2. I think. I don't know for sure. Maybe there'll be more explanation at the beginning. But I'm basically gonna, I think I'm just gonna run it straight through. I'm not gonna pause it. So I may talk over it. And I do apologize for that. Okay, I do have captions on. Thanks to Server Blight for TF2 This is how I found Emesis Blue. I saw the server blight first. Spawn room? That looks like the spawn room in 2 for it. I only know that because I basically only played 2 for it whenever I played TF2. Hi. It's eternity in there. That sign was there a second ago, was it? My eyes hurt. Oh! Oh! Twitchy? Twitchy? You okay there, bud? How you doing there, champ? Oh! Okay, I think somebody exploded. Thank you for self-care. How are you doing, Con? It's its own lore thing. I figured it was, but it also kind of like fits kind of sort of with the lore, but more like after the game, if I remember correctly. Because I think I've seen the pictures of like what's his name, Redmond and Blutarch look like, and they're like old as dirt. Even though they're supposed to be like middle-aged in TF2. Medic. Eric? Who's Eric? Oh, was Eric the twitchy one? Not literally, I figured you were making a joke. Corpses. Oh, is this a nightmare? This is what happens when you fall asleep sitting up. Plague Doctor. The tunnel under 2 for it. Kind of, but it has a grate. Respawn room. Hey, yo, is that a Shining reference, my guy? This movie's gonna be references left and right, isn't it? Oh yeah, this is a Shining reference. This whole thing is the Shining reference. Oh no. Oh no. Pretty decent job for creating voice in each class. True. Hi. Touch. It's just staring. Oh my god, the sound effects.
I know it's late, but mind if I ask you something? Do you ever have bad dreams?
No. Hi, Tommy. Jules
So
Archibald
tell me
kidnapped.
about it.
Well, I was in the bathroom, right? And as I was brushing my teeth, all my teeth started to fall out. There was blood all over the basin. It was horrible.
Hey,
Are you worried about something?
Yeah, actually.
wait, I actually may pause something
You ever
if
get
we
the
get to see
feeling
those
like you're
movies
being
again.
watched?
What do you mean?
When I went to bed last night, I could swear there was someone standing outside my window.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. Someone was just passing by.
I'm on the second
Doc,
floor.
I was on the second floor.
Oh. That was a good
Have you
guess.
spoken to your mother about this?
She says it's all in my head.
Does he have
There's
sutures
nothing
on the
wrong with
side
your
of his head?
teeth. Here, take one of these tonight. It should help.
Valium!
Come on, Doc. I don't need this stuff.
I think you do, Scout. This doesn't seem normal.
You sound like my mother.
I'm pretty sure he does have
Help me
sutures
out
on the
here.
side of his head.
She must be thrilled you're moving back in with her.
After being laid off? Are you kidding me? I'm gonna sue the
Laid
hell
off?
out of Blue for what they did to me.
Well, you wouldn't be the first.
Hold on, you
Doc,
lost your medical license!
If they ever hit you with something, you hit back twice as hard, you hear me?
Well, it's getting
does
late.
have a suture.
Come on, I'll give you a ride.
Movies!
Jeez, you got a whole video store in there.
Wait. Das Cabinet? M? Wait, does he have 2 copies of the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, I think is the movie? Chat, I'm sorry. I said I was going to pause it, and then we come across movies. Faust? I don't know what Der Conan gegen Gelb is. I don't know that movie. Okay.
What the hell could have done
1920. Was that Metropolis? Damn. 1927. Oh shit, M.
I forget about it. Come on, before it gets dark.
Scout gonna learn about a classic slasher movie?
Scout?
Let's go. I know M's German. It's also free on YouTube. If anybody didn't know that. Oh. Hello? Wait, why was the sign red in a blue clinic, apparently? Chapter 1, Graveyard Shift. Soldier! Re-elect George Archibald for governor of New Mexico. Re-elect. Somebody standing on the road. Lucky Strikes. Oh no. You're doing bad when you get yourself a pack of Lucky Strikes. Gun. It looks like the silhouette of another soldier.
He's here. I need my... What the hell are you doing? Give me that before you hurt yourself.
You told me to keep a lookout.
I told you to wait in the car.
Look, what if it's an ambush?
He's alone. It shouldn't take long.
That Rusky's
Okay.
twice your size.
I just need to
it's
make
gonna be
it
heavy,
talk.
isn't it?
What if he doesn't?
Just keep an eye out for the police.
It's gonna be a heavy, isn't it? Brewski. Breaking Bad. Breaking as in like car? Oh god. Ooh, that grumble. I just realized how loud this was. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit.
Builders League.
Who?
You look lost, comrade, and that suit doesn't fit you.
I did not ask for your opinion.
So tell me the facts. Who's the handoff? Who's your new employer?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Who kidnapped Archibald? Was it you? You know the price of betrayal, friend. They'll throw you up against the wall for this. What's on the briefcase?
It does not concern you.
Hand it over.
You want my briefcase?
Oh, Jesus. Absolutely clubbed. New Mexico Breaking Bad joke. Oh, gotcha.
This is 189 reporting a 513 to local cemetery. The vehicle in question is a black hearse.
10-9, say
Sick.
again. A black hearse.
Me stealing a black
That's
hearse.
correct.
It's mine now. You can't have it.
Is this a joke? You steal a friggin' hearse at this hour.
I mean, what other times would you steal a hearse?
That wasn't me.
Oh, crap.
Who the hell is that?
Jeez, he's huge. I didn't realize how big a heavy was. Good lord, I guess that's why they're called heavies. There's Blue down the road. And a hearse. Hello. Also, the details. Did y'all see the plane in the sky there?
Hey, Stalingrad. Eat this.
Good name. Good name.
You're welcome.
You idiot.
What's this
He
helmet
was our
always black?
only
I could have
lead,
sworn it
and
was
now
blue.
he's dead.
Oh, so you were just talking?
We have to get out of here.
What about the body?
It's 150
I left my
kilos.
camera
Listen.
in the car. Fidget for me. Now.
Left the briefcase.
Think I'm gonna save your skinny ass again, prick.
Are you sure you wanted to leave the gun in the car? The door being open sound amazing. Okay, so the plague doctor is real. Seemingly. Wait, that's... Was that his gun?
What the hell happened?
He took the briefcase.
1937? Was that what was also on the side of his gun? Is one of the cabin, right? Wait, what do you mean cabin? Also, hold on, I'm adjusting myself in the
Hey,
seat.
Doc,
Yes?
what did you mean when you said I'm not the first? You talking about the accident?
The accident.
There have been others.
You telling me that this has happened before? Doc, what is wrong with the respawn machine?
It doesn't always work like it's supposed to.
Oh, I just
Get
realized.
stuck
I think there's a
inside trying
prequel
to
video
come
to this
through.
one. We probably
What the
should
hell
watch
are
that
you
one
talking
first.
about, Doc?
I've only seen it happen once. On the
Damn
front
it.
lines. He came through screaming horribly. When I ran in to see what happened, I...
What did you see, Doc?
You don't want to know.
God damn it. CinemaSins, where are you? Ping. Hey, you don't want to know, cliche. Ping.
Thanks for the ride, Doc. You sure you don't want to come in? At least say hi to Ma?
Tell her I did, Scout. I have to get back to the office.
You really got to get out more often, Doc.
Huh.
Catch you later, all right?
I'll see you soon.
We don't know his name, right? We just keep referring to him as Scout. Right?
Hey, Ma! I'm home.
Where the hell have you been? You were soaked.
Just getting a checkup, Ma. I'm fine.
Oh, the hearse. Oh, shit. That was the back of the hearse peeking around the building. Oh, hey. I'm pretty sure that's another reference. This is M.
So how was the doctor here?
Fine.
Did you ask him to stop by?
Tried. I feel bad for the guy.
What's the matter with him?
I think he's on something.
Valium. It's Valium. Totally Valium. Downs it with a can of pop. Oh, no. Hi, Newt. Ah, there he is.
Du hast aber einen schönen Ball.
Dinner's ready here.
Okay, hang on.
Wie heißt du denn?
Hello?
Thanks for the ride, Doc.
Mm.
Sure you don't want to come in? At least say hi to Ma?
What did you...
Hello?
Who is this?
You really gotta get out more often, Doc.
What the hell is this? Who are you?
Hey, Ma! I'm home.
More metaphors! Pawn. Not in the hall of... Hello? Hello? Was that in the Hall of the Mountain King? Oh, wait, that's him. I forgot. The guy who does whistle in the Hall of the Mountain King in the movie. The killer does. That was, yes. Yes, it was. Yeah, his whole thing is when he does his work, he whistles in the Hall of the Mountain King.
Hello?
It's unlocked. Uh-oh. Wait, I'm pretty sure that TV was not on top of the VHS a second ago. Hello? Lights on. Hi, Scout's Ma. Uh-oh. Oh, triple uh-oh. Oh, hey! Oh. Oh, that was... Oh, no. Who is it? M&M's did it? No. Donk.
So the handoff was an undertaker?
Almost.
Plague Doctor.
Could be in that briefcase.
Money, gold, diamonds?
I don't think this is about money.
Is it a bomb?
If it was, he wouldn't hit me over the head with one.
What if it's Archibald's severed head?
Enough, soldier.
I don't think a severed head is going to fit in that box.
They'll have all our heads.
She knew the formula of what?
I think I know what
Of M&M's? M&M's aren't that hard to make.
Receives, it doesn't transmit.
Brigger, this is 185. Gonna need an update on that stolen hearse.
Roger, 185. This is 187. I have visual on a black hearse heading south on Brixton.
10-4. Tail
It's Mountain Coin. Shut up, Sunstar.
Avenue. I'm gonna intercept.
Purgatory Avenue? What?
Sir, I'm gonna need you to roll down your window. I can't see your face.
Go into Purgatory Avenue.
Purgatory.
Whip it. Good lord, that car is hauling. Mountain Coin, it's going rounds. Stop. Also, I think this low frame rate is intentional. Oh. Box. Welcome to the Forever Box. Oh, uh-oh. I know that's probably not good. Hi, Beepers. How are you doing, buddy? How's my favorite goober on Twitch doing? The master troublemaker. The Forever Box.
Can't see anything.
We got it all units called downtown.
Some night, huh?
Oh, this is where Stalingrad's supposed to be, and he's just not. Cool. Doing awesome. Oh no. Haven't heard of it. This is Blue? No, I only found out about it last week, and I decided I was going to watch it with chat this week. The Forever Box is a coffin. Hello. Is this another Shining reference? This is a different movie. I've seen at least 3 different Shining references already. And then we've had, what, 2 to 3 M references? Are we gonna hear In the Hall of the Mountain King again? Wait, were there stairs earlier? M, as in the German movie. Hey, a key. Photos. Okay, that's the scout's room. That's his. Oh no, that's a picture of him from behind. So somebody was following the scout.
Hello?
Hey, Doc?
Oh, thank God, Scout. Are you alright?
I know it's late, but...
It's just the recording of when he showed up.
What? Scout, where are you?
You ever get the feeling like you're being watched?
What the hell have you done with him?
Conacher Slaughterhouse. Uh-oh. It's black and white with sound, murder mystery movie? Yep. It's from 31? I think that was what was on the tape. Intel hell.
I've been working downtown for over 30 years now.
I've been working downtown for over 30 years. I have a donut permanently lodged in my throat.
Up in no time. And nobody comes in here except paramedics, you hear me? And somebody get these clowns off my crime scene. I don't need
The
this
last
right now.
time we are federal agents. I am Detective Mannix. This is Lieutenant Colombo. We are looking for a very dangerous criminal.
Will somebody run a background check on these bozos? There ain't no way they're FBI.
Termination notice.
I want to talk to him.
1968. Oh, okay, so it is.
You.
Oh,
Tell me
interesting.
exactly what happened.
He had to be on drugs or something. I tried to bring him down.
Okay, so technically the movies aren't that old.
It was like a nightmare.
Yeah, the poor
Jeremy
bastard got
E.
his own sidearm in the gut.
That nerd.
Chief, they just found 187's body stuffed inside a dumpster.
Jesus Christ.
187 was the one that went after the,
How did he escape? What was he driving?
Look, I think you've asked enough questions here, pal.
Ambulance!
See, look, he needs a doctor, so
was
why
it
don't you
187
just-
was the
No,
one
he
that
was
answered the
driving
radio and got
goddamn
attacked by the person in the hearse?
All right, everyone step outside.
IQ 48? Is that what it said? Hey, Fritz!
Soldier. Get in the car.
Oh. Okay. Holy shit, the camera work! There's more cinematic fucking production put into this fucking movie than so many current movies in the theater. This movie already has more drama and setup than The Fucking Monkey. Take note, Neon. I would want Columbo on my case. True. So would I. Okay, there was the hearse on fire. This is all, and yeah, it's all in SFM, and it even uses some models from some of the other SFM games. It's not all just, oh, that's not good. There always something you should be throwing around. That part I don't exactly understand. I don't exactly understand why it does that. Took him 4 years to make, so he really went all out. It's so good.
Check the bathroom.
That also does also explain their gigantic flashlights.
Storm's cut the power. Mirrors shattered. There's blood all over the sink.
Christ.
Must have been a fight or
Same
something.
spy.
My God. It's his latest victim.
It's a model, you idiot.
I love Soldier so much.
This is worse than I
Thanks,
thought.
Columbo.
You know, it made me think a bunch of this stuff.
There will be a flashing light scene? Uh-oh.
And did the medication work?
I don't know. I never took any of it.
Right. No, don't!
Hello?
Hello? Who is this?
Who am I? Who the hell are you?
It's
Who is this?
him. It's when he answered the phone earlier.
It's him.
Listen to me, punk. You're not gonna think this is funny when I strangle you to death with your own stethoscope.
Who is this?
It's the voice of God, you son,
Son of a bitch.
and I'm coming for you.
That's such a good line. Hold on. I want that one more time. I want that one more time.
The voice of when I strangle you to death.
I want that
with your
delivery
own
one more time.
stethoscope.
Who is this?
It's the voice of God, you son of a bitch, and I'm coming for you.
So good. He fucking nailed it. Fucking nailed it. I'm doing great, Matthew. I'm enjoying this a lot. Oh, that's not good. Okay, I have complaints about those rubber gloves being useful to try and hold on to ledges, but okay. That, I don't think I want to know what that is. Those are climbing gloves? Sure. Sure, buddy. Well, shit. That's a severed hand. That's Stalingrad. Look at our big boy. He's. Oh, wait, why is he back? Is he bigger? I swear he was bigger. Kingpin? Listen, he's pulling off the vertical striped suit, okay? We are leaving! I mean, he did detach it earlier. Why is it suddenly broken? I don't understand. He's gonna commission you! I need somebody to go make that a GIF. I need the GIF of the elevator opening and Solomon standing there and then walking towards him. And I need somebody to turn that into, I'm going to commission you. I'm gonna start sending that to artists when I... Now the plug's broken? I guess that makes sense. Oh. And there's a coffin. And his baseball. Uh-oh. Wrench. God, that is a hefty wrench. And M's back. Oh God, the warbling. Oh. The padlock. Whose lit cigarette is that? All Ballers League. Scratching on the table. What's there? To 4440? Wait, what? Will be the flashing lights. Wait, almost a solid minute of flashing lights? The fuck?
Wait, Scout! I'm trying to help you!
If I had a gun, I'd shoot you, you sick bastard!
Huh?
No! Stop!
I suspect that he is, in fact, dead. Ah, that's what I was gonna say. That's the NG corner. You don't go around that corner. I was not expecting actual engineers, though. Hi. Yo, for SFM, those bleeding effects aren't half bad. Inside that time frame? Okay, gotcha. Oh.
You look lost, boy.
Oh, that's a good voice.
Now, brother, I do believe that you
There's two of them.
chained out that coffin.
Indeed I did, brother. Up to specification.
So how'd he get out? Dumbass. Well, go on then. Say something.
Just peeking around the corner.
Well,
relatable.
Never let you out. I'm glad they did, because
only ballers go in coffins? Oh, good lord.
Why does he get to have all the fun?
Okay. I like that they very much did make them, like, differentiable. Okay. Welcome to Conacher Slaughterhouse? Question mark? You ain't got no bridge.
Check the ambulance.
It is very interesting, though, to see, like, 2-4 basically split in half.
Nothing.
We need to call for backup.
I got it right here.
Oh, no.
You've had that thing in my car this whole time.
For emergencies.
Just what do you plan to do with it?
I'm gonna use it to jump across this ravine.
You really have lost your mind, haven't you?
What? I've done it before.
Put that down before you get us killed.
God fucking. You did that, Spy. You did that.
Get down!
Oh, and now there's a sniper? Is that what we're dealing with? It's me. I am the sniper. I am the one who is standing on the ramparts, firing across the gap. Woke up at the dentist. Wait. Was that the heal station? Is there a cooler inside the heal station? Or did we just make that up on the spot? That's hilarious. No, I mean, we haven't seen a demo and we haven't seen a pyro yet.
Hey, Dell, you haven't called me in a while. How's Dust
Dell?
Bowl working out, brother? Gone?
You heard me. There's nothing left of it.
How?
We're still trying to figure that out. It doesn't look good.
What about my little brother? Is he alright?
Listen, I'm coming to the slaughterhouse now. Is the briefcase secure?
Sure.
Dell.
I swear to God, if anything happens to my brother, I'm gonna...
Shut up and listen to me. Forget the test subjects. I think we've been compromised.
Goddamn inconsiderate.
Shut up!
I miss my brother.
Who knows how? Look, when are you gonna be back? We shouldn't have to deal with this.
Don't let the briefcase out of sight.
And what about my brother?
Listen, he just cares about his brother, okay? It's fine. Dell, the computer company? No, it's a person's name. Kill for a mini/normal fridge of a heal station would be pretty cool. Piano. Okay. Uh-oh. Very, very beginner-friendly song. What's this called again? The movie Nemesis Blue. It's like Nemesis without the M. It's also the name of the, I'm pretty sure he had a bottle of it in his office at the beginning. I'm pretty sure there was a bottle that said it, besides the Valium one. Ew. Uh-oh. Jesus. Oh. Oh. They can't medic themselves. His gun's broken, remember? His medic gun broke earlier. Disposal. You think the disposal still works? I have several questions. I have so many questions. Okay. Is it the respawn room? Is the respawn room still working? But he's not in the room. Oh, okay, jackets off. Jackets off, boys. So stupid. He ain't got no eyes! I swear that's another movie reference. Anybody know? That's not from the cabinet of Dr. Caligari, is it? Or is that is it a different movie? 43:30? Where are we right now? We're at 32. We got about 10 minutes. It's kind of up to everybody else if you have issues with big flashing lights to look away. Because I can't exactly keep hovering over the timestamp to try and see when it's coming. Unless somebody wants to pin that.
What the hell's going on in there?
But like, because I don't have like a counter or timestamp up on screen, it's a little hard.
Now that ain't a toy, son. Put it down. Now.
Oh, I don't like that smile.
Now don't do nothing stupid, boy. You got
Oh, don't do
no
something
idea
stupid now,
dealing
boy.
with.
Well, I guess now all the brothers are back together. Reverse medicing. I mean, the fact that the blood flowed backwards makes me think that it's like time related.
I would have got you.
Oh, what was that little echo there? There's some deeply concerning noises escaping his mouth. He's putting his pharmacy degree to use for sure. Major Half-Life vibes. I think it has something to do with him coming back. Could be what's in the briefcase. Could the briefcase have something to do with the respawn machine? All right, I'm gonna guess Jeremy's dead. I'm guessing Jeremy's dead. Chapter 4. Actually, hold on. This is a really good time to pause it since we're going into the next chapter. So I'm gonna run the ad break about 3 minutes early. And we should be good to go when I come back. So we'll be back in a few minutes, guys. I will give you the music and the iPad in just a second. Don't burn anything down, please, I beg you. That includes you, Ordained. You're not allowed to burn anything down today. So I say... Oh, where's the stream? What the hell? Did it, like, reset? What the fuck happened? Work, damn you! Okay, there it goes. There we go. All right, I'll be back shortly, guys. Don't burn anything down, please. Yeah, it reset for some reason. Okie dokie. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. All right. Y'all can finish this round. Priority. Priority. Yeah. Perfection. See, I know things on occasion, chat. I know some stuff and things. I have been on occasion to be a knower of things. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. We're barely a third into this movie. Oh, I'm enjoying this. I'm actually really enjoying this. Nurge! What do you mean, Nurge? It was gonna be an actual emote. I'm pretty sure technically it's already saved on Twitch. I just need to slot it in. But just earlier when I was trying to figure out where to put the shocked emote, I realized how few fucking stationary emotes slots I have. I mostly want partner because I want those fucking emote slots. We got so many emotes now and only 20 stationary ones. Uh-oh, wait, why do I have an email? Okay, never mind. Never mind. Nothing important. Thank God. Nothing important. Thank God. All right. And Piotr. Piotr, you saying? What's Piotr doing here? Okay. Ready, guys? Let me make sure I turn off the music. Crossroads. Usually a never a good sign. Sludge, not the sludge lad. Hey, we're in the pipe. Yo, the boats.
I am never going to find Archibald in this excrement.
Back in the war, we would spend weeks stuck in wet dugouts like this, with water up to your ankles. They were built only 6 feet wide, but they could go on for miles.
Kill me now.
The thing is, too, is I'm pretty sure Soldier actually was a actual soldier.
You have no comprehension of what you're getting into.
I have a pretty damn good idea.
We should have called for backup.
And what the hell do you think I'm doing? I just saved you from a bullet to the head.
And who was it that told them we were coming? Who's been killing our leads and getting the police involved? You have compromised this entire operation.
What about all those pictures? That's evidence we can use, right?
They were in the car, you idiot. Now I have nothing. Because of you. You stupid bastard, you amateur.
Because no military would take it? That's even
I
funnier.
hope you can swim because you're going right back out the way you came.
You gonna shoot me?
We're done. I don't care what wretched battalion you think you come from. You are not coming with me.
You shot one of your own before?
Get out of my way.
Oh, yeah.
Archibald teach you that?
Oh! Wait, so is it in TF2 canon, is he actually like, hi, there's a sniper. It's me. Me, camping corners.
You better drop that rifle before I come over there and put my foot up your...
Who the hell is out there?
Looks like Ray Charles traded the piano for an M40.
What?
I've got an idea.
Okay. I also don't think that rocket launcher would float.
What are you, blind? Come on, right here. Take your best.
Okay. Get fucked, jackass. Get fucked. Sorry, bud, your leg's gone.
You think I didn't come prepared?
How did you know he wouldn't shoot you in the head?
I didn't.
Hey, buddy.
Let's finish him off right here and now.
Let him bleed.
Okay. Just very patriotic. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not all that surprised by that. Huh? Ah. Oh. Wait, that's a pyro. The Wombs, okay. It is a pyro. Ah, it's this butcher guy. That footstep was very audible.
You drop it. Take off the mask.
What kind of standoff did you think that was?
Soldier, don't leave me.
Oh, you badmouthed this dude to his face constantly, and now you don't want to be left behind? Oh, I don't like this scene. Oh, I don't like this. Okay. Kill. The way he's like... He was like falling down those stairs more so than walking. The fucking sniper still being alive is really funny too. Oh! Okay, so what? We're down to spy, we're down to scout. So right now we just have the medic and soldier. It's back!
I want to know what the hell is going on here.
I don't know.
Soldier.
That's probably mincemeat by now.
I've already lost one man. Not gonna lose another. Then
Wait, where'd the captions go?
You haven't lost both eyes yet, Cyclops. So tell me what you've seen.
Oh.
I don't have time for this.
Oh, okay.
You
Okay.
Get me out of here.
That was a scout. Go by. What hellish wonderland have we wandered into in 2 for it? Throws the crowbar at him. Ah, yes. My favorite part of 2 for it. The Wardley Gates with the corpses. Oh! Monster Scout? Is he also wearing black? Okay. Soldiers tripping? I don't know. I'm still thinking there's gonna be time shenanigans. Never mind. Soldier definitely be tripping. And there's the Plague Doctor. Playing chess with Fritz.
Soldier, what are you doing? There's something for you here.
And there's regular Pyro. The dead? Are these like all the dead people he knows or something? Oh. I don't know if that's supposed to specifically be our Jeremy or if that's supposed to be just another soldier. Oh no, it's the monster one. Welcome back to the courtyard. Okay. Okay, there's the door that Stalingrad broke.
Oi,
Cyclops.
You're gonna finish that?
I like to think that he could just smell it from across the fucking courtyard in the rain. Flashlight?
I'm looking for Jules Archibald.
Who's asking?
His rescue.
Afraid you're gonna be disappointed.
I want to know what the hell is going on here.
I don't know. That's probably mincemeat by now.
I've already lost one man. Not gonna lose another.
Then you're a
That's the line. It's
You
him.
haven't lost both eyes yet, Cyclops. So tell me what you've seen.
It's him. Oh my god, it's a time loop. I called it.
They run
I called
the
it.
joint,
It
but
is
this
the time loop.
red territory.
Not anymore.
He
Who's
saw
the guy you were just
himself
talking
yelling
to?
at the demo man.
What guy?
There he is. See, that's him
I
spotting
don't
them.
have time for this.
Wait. You gotta get me out of here.
Why the hell should I?
There's a whole stash of guns locked in a keep upstairs. I can get you in.
Okay. There's the crowbar. And the scout monster. Oh, I don't like the light. Oh, I don't like the light. Oh, there's the flashing lights. Oh, I hate that. Just picks him up. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I hate that. This is a good movie. This is a good movie. I'm enjoying this. A barcode tattoo? Okay, interesting. Oh. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's really not good. Hi, Maple Tree, welcome in. They're still alive! Thank you for getting rid of the pin message. Tape recorder. Nice.
It's longer than you think. I see the other side. It's longer than you think.
That's probably not a good idea. Thank you for following, Maple. Watch one of my favorite movies. It's so good. I'm enjoying it so far. I really am. I didn't know that there was a thing for like TF2 horror movies. Oh, uh-oh. Hi. Was that a light inside them or was that a light through them? Oh. Zombies. Okay. Resident Evil zombie head turn? Oh, yeah. Uh-oh. 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 That's definitely not good. Okay, but the sniper's still down? Okay. Rusto. Aim for the head, come on. That'll do it. There you go. Listen, he's good at his job, okay? That's... Why did that look like they look like a boomer from Left 4 Dead? How when they explode, there's just like the bottom part. Hold on, is the whole thing that like the respawn is longer than you think, is that is that a reference to the jaunt?
We're trapped.
I forget, is that another Stephen King short story?
To kill us.
It's either Stephen King or I think Lovecraft, I can't remember. Does anybody else know what the jaunt is? It's like a sci-fi story. Okay, was Stephen King? Okay, I couldn't remember. And we've had Shining references almost this whole time. Okay. A red medic. That was this movie and they brought that up. Because if it's longer, if they're pulling it from like the jaunt, oh, he's like stitched together. In the jaunt, it's, if I remember correctly, it's a sci-fi story about where like teleportation has been made. But it's like extremely painful. It takes a long time. So typically, like before they teleport people, they like knock them out. They like make them go to sleep. So that, and like the state that they're in when they're teleported is, hey, there's Stalingrad again.
Normally we have papers signed before doing these things, but no matter. To hell with Helix, you old fools.
Helix.
They don't deserve this.
Helix Technologies in the corner. Okay.
My God.
Yeah, he definitely got bigger. Hi, Stalingrad. Oh, yeah. Oh! Said the same thing again. I would just keep running, buddy. I would just keep running. Mr. X? Could be a bit of a Mr. X reference. Okay, but why? Ah, yes. Dimmo and Soldier being friends.
What's wrong? Hello? Someone help me!
Big dude be walking. Oh, this is the... Have you used Mr. X makes one thing obvious to get two cats to work with Resident Evil? I can see it. Just went through the wall. Oh my god, I don't like that.
Shoot him! Shoot him!
My hat! Yeah, the captions for this movie aren't working super great. Statue. Why'd the elevator open? Screwdriver. Buddhist! Shut up, Hectic. Ooh. Oh! Scout Monster was back, but why are they fighting? Why are they fighting? Fisticuffs. There's only like 2 floors, technically, right? About to find out that there's apparently more. There's like a sub-basement. Have yourself a little cry. Lift stuck. Not the Lucky Strikes, dude. Nobody should smoke Lucky Strikes. It's not 1926 anymore. TF2 animators are built different. No matter if it's something like in the Sploor meme videos. Who disengaged somehow managed to make them into movies. Oh yeah. Chapter 5. The Doorway. Archibald!
Corporal, come over here. You wanted a promotion? Here it is.
What's the charge?
Okay.
Treason.
Treason for...
What's it going to take, Corporal?
I want a new car.
Done. Anything else?
Okay.
My own personal assistant.
Anything you like, Corporal.
Wait, that's Stalingrad in the back. That was definitely Stalingrad back there.
Oh boy.
I think I've earned it.
Dang, he's handsome. Oh, there's the pyro. The scary door? The scary door?
You think you can get away with this?
Bonesaw.
Build this legal destroy you for what you've done. Don't you get it, you mute freak? I'm a protected man.
I don't think he cares.
What do you want?
Uh-oh. I'm kind of scared. Oh! Oh, I don't like this. Oh! Oh, that was the corpse model! Oh, yeah, it's the corpse model. Okay, yeah, that was the... What was that? The Half-Life burned corpse model? The one that, like, actually used a burn victim as its fucking mesh?
I think I lost my piece. Can't go back for it now. You don't work for the Conagers, do you?
I killed the Conagers.
That's a good line.
Who gave you that order?
They tried to kill me. Is that enough?
That doesn't belong to you.
I can explain.
I can't see a bloody thing.
Don't move.
What do you mean you can't see a bloody thing? You had one eye. You still have one good eye. Hopefully. Good pistol.
He's gotta be a sleeper agent. I know their type.
I saw the devil in them eyes, man.
Sleeper agent. Hi, Fairbanks. Kill me.
How far down are we?
Oh, I couldn't read that. I think that said God help me in German.
You hear that?
It's Archibald, you fat bastard. Bagel chips.
Mr.
Ooh.
Archibald?
Oh, thank God! A rescue! You have to get me out of here before I contract something.
Are you injured, sir?
I'm about to have a
The way
heart
he
attack.
says contract.
Now, are you going to stand there, or can you unlock this bloody door?
You're right where you belong, you fat crooked bastard.
Smart bloody leper, aren't you? Soldier, why are you dragging this corpse around?
Leper?
This man called me?
He's been handy, sir.
He's got none left. Are you conspiring with the enemy, soldier?
I'm just trying to help, sir.
Then stop wasting my time.
Bar? No. A cart? A wheelchair. That's totally fine. Just a normal wheelchair. I'm sure that's fine. Totally fine. Coward! I love The Shining. Yeah, more Shining references, baby.
You
That was the
want me to
tricycle.
do it, don't you? But I won't. You can't make me. You can't make me.
Okay. That's a door that wasn't there before. Right? Where'd the bar door go? Archibald's gone.
Mr. Archibald?
Ooh.
Cyclops?
Oh. I don't like the light change. It's a soldier hanging. Oh, this is such good cinematography. Jesus Christ. Ah. Unsettling. Good.
Hello, Del.
Del,
Long night,
the
eh?
brother. The brother from Dust Bowl. This is another Shining
Care for a
reference.
drink?
Love one. I thought you were miles
I like
away,
that it's just
lad.
coming through the top of the
Where
bottle.
have you been hiding?
Who says I've been hiding?
Your brothers thought you were dead.
Relapse is a hell of a thing, ain't it?
Too right.
But not his arm. I think it's a metaphor. I think he's dying. Because his eye looks like it's like made out of glass or stone. And this is definitely a Shining reference. And the bartender in The Shining was dead.
What?
And Del
When we
is
figured out how to
dead.
bring us back. Some of us would tell stories about what we saw on the other side. We saw old friends, family, mostly strangers. I spoke to my grandfather. He's been dead for 30 years.
Yeah.
What'd he tell you?
He's so concerned. The fucking the up look. Wait, he was the one at the beginning of the movie that we had like the shadow that said it's eternity in there. What you looking at, Fritz? Are the glass and the eyes similar colored? No, they weren't quite the same color. The glasses were very, very clear. Terminal? Isn't the terminal for the respawn machine? Oh, that's exactly what it is. Uh-oh. A monolith? A panel? I can't tell if it's a doorway or something. Hi, Jinja. Another Stephen King book? I wouldn't doubt it. I bet a lot of them are Stephen King references. Okay, I think it's supposed to be a door. It's Jeremy! Helix Technologies respawn terminal. Running startup program, localizing data. Searching. One file found. Warning, file corruption detected. There's one file on this whole machine and it's corrupted. Oh, that's Jeremy's mom.
Plutarch, can you hear me?
Plutarch.
Lower your voice, Plutarch. I can hear you just fine. Am I coming through clear? No, Plutarch, this is a telephone call. Much faster than airmail. Plutarch,
Oh my god.
what do you mean, who is this? It's Jules Archibald. We last spoke in Dallas over you-know-what.
Oh, what is this? Fuck, Dr. something?
Project we discussed.
Dr. Lovegood or something?
No, not the pregnancy machine, the other one. Yes,
Fuck, I can't remember the movie.
so to speak. The respawn machine works. It technically works. Plutarch, however... no. You see, that's the problem. They say we've lost about 90% of the test subjects.
Strangelove, that's it. Strangelove. Thank you.
Plutarch, but the good news is we found about 10 of them that are respawn.
Dr. Goodlove, I think it's a different movie.
Hold on a moment. What the hell is going on? He shot himself? Oh, bloody hell. Just throw him in the pit with the others. Excuse me, 9, Plutarch.
You promised me an army, Archibald.
9?
Think of the money you'll save. Mercenaries are very cheap.
Oh, was that the 10th mercenary?
On every front line, there will be no
Or was the secret 10th mercenary?
end of the financial year.
Hello, a respawn gap.
The respawn gap? You must be joking. Plutarch, I really must be going now. Listen, would you be interested in a new heart, liver, or spleen? We have about 800,000 corpses on site.
800,000? Uh-oh.
Take one of each.
That skull's moving.
I'll put it on the bill.
Hi.
Plutarch. Redmond, Jules Archibald. I have a proposition.
He's playing both sides. That's how they both ended up with the respawn machine and the same 9 mercenaries. Uh-oh. Modeling anatomy? Rebuilding skeleton? Uh-oh. Okay. Restarting metabolic functions, respawning, warning, fatal error. What have you done? What is coming out of the respawn machine? Okay, it's just the Shining reference again. It's the same Shining reference we saw at the beginning. It's Fairbanks. Fairbanks just walks out. No, we just get the Shining reference. And then right... Oh! Wait, the sniper's back. He's different. Ah, he's still missing his leg. Who could he be calling? He's gonna flick it open again. Okay, he's got a black eye now. I'm the 10th merc? Oh no. Oh, okay, I didn't like that crunch. Oh, the sniper. So they are working together. Invisible chair. Ah, use the axe to cut himself loose. Aim for the head. You already saw that he looks like a corpse. Aim for the head. Good fucking God, aim for the head. Okay. Uh-oh. Was that more Lucky Strikes? What did you think was gonna happen? Oh, well, thank God for the sewage line right next to us. You ever think about how Bruce Wayne would need to explain how mysteriously every time he adopts a child, a new Robin appears with Batman? Ah, it's fine. Nah, don't worry about it. I'm pretty sure most of the city probably has already figured it out anyway. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Absolutely nothing to think about here. Oh, it's Jeremy's house again. Hi, Pickles. Okay, there's something different in the oven than before. Just supplies children soldiers? Oh, good lord. I mean, a couple of them were trained before they became a Robin. Some of them are his own children. It's fine. Some of them were also independent. Became Bat-based superheroes and then joined the Bat family. This is a movie sponsored by Lucky Strikes. I don't think Lucky Strikes is still a brand. Thank you for the follow, Gunpowder Troll. Welcome in. Enjoy the show. Is that? Oh, that's his blind. That's one of his medical blinds. Hello?
When I went to bed last night, I could swear there was someone standing.
Yo, Interstellar? Interstellar moment, anyone?
What do you mean? When I went to bed last night, I could swear there was someone standing outside my window. No, don't be ridiculous. Someone was just passing by. Yeah. I'm gonna sue the hell out of Blue for what they did to me.
Okay.
You wouldn't be the first. Doc, if they ever hit you with something, you would stay quiet.
Ah, that's the movies fell over. And how he ended up with him.
Jeez, you got a whole video store in there.
Okay. Bruce Wayne just plays Joseph Digit, a movie sponsored by Lucky Strikes. Nah, it's fine. It's fine. And the doors swing open. And it's not there. Huh. This is back at Jeremy's house. Okay. Is that the pyro? Oh yeah, it's the pyro. When did that door get there? Why is there a church here? What did I open the stream to see? We're watching Mrs. Blue. A TF2 horror film. Welcome to the confession booth. Can he not open the door? It's do no harm! Cross. Oh, is it faith time? Are we having faith time? Hey, soldier. Horror series called Hoovy Dundee. Still waiting for part 3. I only know this one in Server Blight, but I would not be surprised if there's more. And they're there. Wait, are these the originals? Or are these just others? No, okay, no, these are all soldiers. They're all soldiers. You really didn't know that he was a clone? And there's Cyclops, and for some reason he has his other eye. Sorry, Cyclops. What is Hoovy Dundee? Did he just freeze when he walked in here? He froze to death in like the matter of minutes, I guess. Stalingrad's back! Chat, just remember, you can't run away from Stalingrad. Stalingrad will always find you. Grenade. You just gonna pull the pin? You're not gonna take the grenade itself and throw it? It is a long grenade timer. If it's giving you enough time to leave and let Stalingrad come walk up. Well, that'll do it. Pyro's still here. Oh, really? Now he's pyrokinetic? Now, if I remember correctly, he has another film where I think the medic is relevant. I think Fritz is relevant. I completely forgot it. We probably should watch that first. That I think it's like technically like a prequel or like a midquel kind of thing that like happens simultaneously during this film. That's kind of relevant. Oh. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's from Fortress Films. Hi, where did y'all come from? I think this is another reference, isn't there? Isn't there another movie that does something similar to this?
I'm in a fix and you have to get me out of it. I cannot go to trial. I simply won't. I'm already on thin ice with the old man, and if any word gets out about that godforsaken asylum, I'll be sued into oblivion.
Asylum?
Maybe even hung. My chances for re-election will be ruined. I am not going down for a war crime.
The box of... That's more Emesis Blue, isn't it?
The old man's brother. The war is their business, and mine is to drag it out for as long as humanly possible. That infernal, unholy contraption is my lifeline, Goldman.
Wait. Is that a reference to, Goldman. God, what's his name? God, why can't I remember that fucking... The lawyer! He shows up in Breaking Bad.
Where am I calling from?
His name's Gold something, isn't it?
You know bloody hell where I am. I heard you've been kidnapped. What's going on? Kidnapped? I don't know anything about that. Listen very carefully, Goldman. I think there are people trying to kill me.
Goodman, that's
And
it.
worse
Yeah,
yet,
Goodman.
I think this Valium is actually...
Saul.
This call. Please deposit 5
Gotta call Saul. Alright, hold on. Welcome, iterators! At least from what I remember. Drinkkicker, how was your stream? I now need to go change a tab. Pardon me, excuse me. Let me go find somebody to go haunt for a little bit. Alright. Welcome in, the Raiders. How was your stream? Did you have fun? Did you have a good time playing Project Zomboid? What trouble did you get into? What shenanigans were you up to? Did you burn anything down or kill an obscene number of zombies? Goldman Sachs? No, not Goldman Sachs. But welcome in, Raiders. We're currently watching I wish I was joking, a TF2 horror movie called Emesis Blue. It is a full feature-length thing. You can't see the exact timestamp that we're on, but yes, this is a hour and 48-minute movie. But welcome in, guys. Let's get right back into it so we don't have too many more interruptions. Oh my god, he goes to the fucking vending machine. Okay, bye. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's... Is there somebody in that? Oh, hey!
Who the hell are you?
It's me, Jules.
Oh shit, it's the corporal.
Oh, thank God, Corporal, you've come to save me.
Have I?
Have I?
I've always been the one to save you, Archie. I did your dirty work and hid it from everyone, and look what it did to me.
My God.
Who is there to save
Why are your clothes black now?
You've never cared about anyone but yourself.
Corporal, no, please, for God's sake.
Well, there's no one here to protect you now.
But
I can respect the voice change.
And I'm giving you exactly what you deserve.
Oh yeah, I did hear that the creators did apparently say that like there's sometimes it would even be hard to like do the slightest of motions because they'd like move Soldier's arm and then the thing would crash. I think somebody did say earlier too, it took them 4 years, so I could imagine the frustration of working on this thing for 4 years. But I think it was worth it. This movie is fucking sick. Emergency fuel shut off. Oh no.
I'm on? Alright, fine. Hello again. If you're watching this, then I can say
I like the intro.
with certainty that you have survived respawn compatibility. Congratulations. If you're confused, allow me to explain. Before you were
Respawn
lawfully
compatibility.
executed by the state, you signed a contract effectively donating your moral
Oh right, they were
remains
death row
for medical
inmates.
trial. The good news is you're not on death row anymore, since you're technically already dead. Which also means you are now company property. But fear not. As promised, you all have a new job waiting for you when you get out. You are now 10 of the strongest mercenaries money can buy.
10,
and your
again.
sacrifice will reward you in time. I'll
Our
see you all the
secret
other
10th
side.
mercenary.
Oh, hell!
What was the chair? What was the same chair from earlier? Okay, that's the one that came out on fire. We've got one still developing. Oh god, I don't think I like where this is going. Blood. I don't think it's an electric chair per se. I think maybe it's what like records Archibald shooting the soldier. Ah, the spy.
You really want to die for that fat bastard?
Don't you want to die for something worth dying for? Do you have any idea how long I've waited for this? Longer than you think.
Wait, is this the original? No, it wouldn't be the original sniper because they were executed by the state. Oh hey, it's the head thing again.
What took you so long?
Which, again, hints more at Fritz killing Jeremy's mom by pulling the head thing again. We're getting out of here. Brain scanner? Yeah, something like that is what I was thinking, Mal. I don't know if a dark room typically has a projector in it.
Why did you come here?
I was trying to save somebody.
But they're not worth saving?
So was I. We shouldn't be here.
Oh, that doesn't look... Wait, is that the hole? Oh, I couldn't even tell what that was. It looked like red loops. Oh, hey, hi, Spy. Did he have a name besides Corporal and Spy? Chapter 6. Catabasis? Catabasis? Hi, soldier.
Doctor. Open it. I can't.
Execution floor. I just realized that's what that sign said.
It's not mine. Liar.
Tell him how you got the case, Fritz.
I stole it. Impossible.
Forget this! Where is Archibald?
Archibald is dead. Everything this man has told you is a lie. He killed him. And the boy.
That's not true.
What is true to you? Or you, who ran away?
Are they saying that he's like insane?
I am the only sane man here.
I
took a
disagree.
bullet for you.
I should have shot you myself.
You're just a really sick bastard.
You
also, hold on, I gotta sneeze. All right, chat. Time to play Russian roulette. Are y'all ready? Isn't that the same gun from earlier that he had to... It's not an auto hammer? Maybe it was an execution chair. You may be right, that said execution floor.
Fritz.
I know.
No!
Goodbye.
I like Soldier. I like Soldier in this movie.
Now you know how it feels. You won. Go. And soldier,
eat shit.
I'll see you at the funeral.
And then he goes out the other door. No, I've never seen it. I've never seen it. I didn't even know it existed until last week. The vending machine again. Is Launcher still being here? Kind of impressive. Oh, that's Archibald, hooked up to the chair. Wait, he wasn't there a second ago, was he? Oh. Oh, there's the spiral. There's our, what was it? There's our 800,000 corpses. Oh. Who's doing that? Stalingrad's still not dead? I don't think Stalingrad, well, Stalingrad had the grenade. Is he still alive? Really? Really? Jesus. Hello? Who's turned on the car? Wait. Oh, it's a dump truck. Wait, there's people working on this pile in this room? Did we see the body? Archibald's body? Or the medic's body? I saw the medic's body on the floor a second ago whenever something was banging on the back wall. But who's driving? Stalingrad's? No, we did not. So, you know. My baby. It's fine. There's just a couple extra soldiers.
Our true enemy has yet to reveal himself.
That's another reference. Fuck, what is that a reference to? That sounds so familiar. Is that a fucking Sopranos reference? Or Godfather? Godfather reference? I forget. It's some mafia movie, right? Series? Something? I swear. Is it from Godfather? Is it from the Godfather? Fighting zombies in the cold. Aww. This is another reference too, isn't it? Working on vacay? You dork, go back to vacation! Thank you for doing your season pass. That's 2 out of the week. Yay. Okay. Oh god, the rocket jump. Oh no. Turns to double check. Oh. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, it's Stalingrad. That's a big bitch. I'm still surprised his suit also survived the grenade. We can respect a classy man. I've done it before. Enjoy your vacay. Go pet more cats for me. Okay. Well, only way is forward. I swear this is a reference to something else too. This is the ending to some movie. Really? Wait. Was that Fritz? Not Fritz, sorry, not the medic. The spy. Fritz is the medic. But I was thinking of the spy. Was that the spy? That was the gun again. That was the revolver. Hey, let's go. Thanks, Plas. That doesn't look like the kind of bullet I would expect to come out of a revolver of that size. But okay. Is that the scout? The scout monster thing? Yeah, the house that Jack built. I don't like this. He's hobbling. Oh, I hate it. Oh, I hate it. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. Sewer grate. Back in the city. Wait, what? Conagar Slaughterhouse is way out on like a plane. Oh, it could be. No, wait, it was only blood. When the like unknown entity thing was, it was only blood. Oh yeah, that's trauma. Wait, it's in reverse. The water is flowing up. I'm pretty sure it was. More time loop shit? There he is, him looking at himself across the street. It was time loop shit. Oh god, the blank stare. Oh. How many times can Soldier stare himself down? Screaming blood, though? Screaming blood? So funny that the type is marked intelligence. Uh-oh. Alright, just don't do the Prometheus school of running away from things. Uh-oh. Alright. We gotta pause it because the ad break is unfortunately... Good pause scene. Good pause scene. This could make a good desktop background. All right, guys. Ad break is about to start. I've got to run to the bathroom because I had an entire thing of gamer subs earlier. But I will be back in a little bit. I will give you all the music. It may take a little extra minutes. I also need to find Coco because I haven't seen Coco come in or out of the door recently. So I need to figure out where she is. But I will be back in a few minutes. Try to get some snacks or something. I may slam some popcorn in the microwave too while I'm at it. I don't think I will, though. I may save it for later tonight. Oogly doogly. Sorry about that. I got back midway through that, but I was gonna wait for y'all to finish before I said anything. Thank goodness the Sunstar didn't go right into trying to play it again. Okay. Jesus, 5 levels? Jesus. All right. Back to this fresh hell. Oh, let me turn music down. Music paused. And continue. Oh wow, that was suddenly really loud. Oh god, okay, now his suit's finally ruined. Damn. That was a very sturdy suit. Fuck you, Stalingrad! You know what? I give up. I'm dropping a building on you. Oh, Jesus. Oh yeah, the building was falling. Probably something you should have considered. You feel better? Maybe I'll make you feel better? Oh, where are we?
Mr. Doe, my name is Agent Stemmons. You don't know me.
Oh, right. Isn't the soldier's real name Mr. Jane Doe?
I'm here to debrief you on the situation.
Something like that? I don't think it's actually John Doe. I'm pretty sure it's specifically Jane Doe.
There's nothing left of it, and I think that's for the best. It was actually scheduled for demolition months ago, but Governor Archibald prevented that from happening. He had his secrets, Mr. Doe, but you discovered something that we find deeply disturbing.
Oh, yeah.
Something that threatens the foundation of this company. Whatever it was you saw inside Gallagher's slaughterhouse, you are not to speak of it with anyone. Not a soul. Do I make myself clear? Good. Is there anything else you want to tell me?
Is he supposed to be like a member of the Builders League? They're like folks in black, or is he supposed to be something? Wait, what the fuck was that? No, go back. Okay, it was the image of Archibald holding the gun to the soldier's head.
Governor Archibald.
No, it's not Spy. This isn't Spy.
Wear black. Sure, Mr. Doe. I think your friend will pull through.
You think? Oh. If that is the spy, it would be the spy who would be benched up like that, completely naked with no skin and still smoking a cigarette. What are we watching? This is Emesis Blue. It is a TF2 horror film.
Glad you could make it, detective. I'm sorry for your loss. I heard you two were very close.
Okay. Oh, a script. Wait, those words weren't on the back of the card a second ago.
The man of the hour.
You know who I am.
No dark man. Nice to finally meet you.
You know my friend Jules.
Better than anyone.
58 years old.
Gross.
He was just a kid. I met him in 1960, right after the election. He was going on and on. How do we get rid of the son of a bitch?
Shall we find you a seat, Mr. Man?
Oh, yes, I need to sit down.
The Italian reskinned scout is very funny to me.
Funerals are an absolute waste of money.
Like war?
If I couldn't strike my brother down, I thought God would eventually do it for me. But I'm no closer to beating Redmond than I was 100 years ago.
Wait, how old are they?
And he shall appear.
I thought I smelled something dead in here.
I've just come to offer my condolences, Plutarch.
Balderdash, what was my friend doing in your compound, Redmond?
I don't know what you're talking about.
He was like the brother I never had. You slaughtered him. Admit it.
Gentlemen.
How attached to one singular color could you be to have everything you own, including your wheelchair, be that color completely? Lord, how could you?
Has come as a shock to all of us. Jules carried Binder's lead for as long as I can remember. And though he's gone, we won't forget the sacrifices he made for this company. Of course.
Oh, is it still technically one company?
I'm sure you all want to know what happened. As you know, Jules was recently abducted from his home by some kind of underground cult. The rescue operation had gone awry. However, myself and my colleague managed to escape. Jules died. Perhaps my colleague could explain what happened.
Okay. Do we want to see what the script says? I can go back and pause it. I'm kind of curious. But maybe it doesn't matter. That looks... I wonder who that guy was supposed to be.
Find this man. Formerly Dr. Fritz Ludwig, one of our own men. He is a schizophrenic psychopath and an addict of his own medicine. He also had an addiction for his own patients. This boy has been missing since Halloween night. His mother was...
Wait, you think it happened on Halloween? Let's go practice medicine.
I am simply illustrating a point that this man was capable of kidnap and murder. How did we let this happen? Archibald is dead because we failed him.
Did you kill him?
I beg your pardon?
Did you kill the bastard or not?
No.
Like everybody's shocked with him standing up. He hasn't stood up in 40 years!
This unbridled act of cruelty against our own company will not go unpunished. So, in Archibald's death, and in accordance to his will, I will be taking his place as chairman of the board to end this treason and corruption once and for all.
Hey, get fucked. Hi, Fritz. You're not... Oh, Jesus. That didn't look very good.
Get me out of here.
Wait, there's the plague doctor. Dang, Fritz, when did you get so good with the revolver? Okay. No? Plague doctor's just gone? The hearse. That was the hearse right there. But it was also burned earlier. It's so weird. Default grunts. Wait, he's had the briefcase this whole time?
Can't you go any faster?
I'm flooring it, sir.
They're shooting at us. Run all the red lights. What are they good for anyway? Look out!
Traffic control? Question mark? How about roundabouts? They put roundabouts in instead of having stoplights? Oh, despair. Yeah! Finally! That was such good timing. That was such good timing, Hex. Finally! Boom! Except that was Blutarch. That wasn't Redman. Another medic. Hey, give me a fucking ambulance!
Don't kill me, man!
Oh god, why does he look like Elvis?
You, put your hands up.
Oh! Good lord, the aim. I've yet to see medic blink? Correct. Correct.
Good gravel.
Gravel.
I won. I outlived you, brother. I am the last man standing.
Get fucked. That's so fucking funny. Oh, hey. Hi, Jeremy. Panger's Aladdin. Oh, God. It's Pervitin, actually. Just grab a new gun, it's faster. Man Brothers assassinated, deadly funeral attack claims 9. Oh, right, I forgot the town's name was Mortem. Mortem, New Mexico. Being in other art styles. It's because they're other SFM games. They're models from other SFM games. Shockingly different over the years. TF2 is the one that's just the most cartoonish. Oh, is this Dell's bar? Are we out at Dust Bowl? Your eyes look better, Fritz.
You look lost.
That's Dell.
I am.
Where you headed?
Foundation question in Badlands feud. Okay.
Nearest town's back the other way.
That's not where I'm going.
So where are you going?
Do you have a phone?
No.
Because it was so stylized,
I
yeah.
think I'm going to be sick.
Restrooms in the back.
Core Gothica, New Mexico. Shut up. That's one hell of a name. It's the Conacher brothers, all 3 of them. And M. God damn it, it's another reference! Fuck! They can't keep getting away with it! Yeah, that was Dell's voice. I already knew that was Dell. Boom. You love the references if I know it? Shut up. Valium.
God help me.
We just dry swallowing now? That's the same knocking from Jeremy's house. And tooth. It's not diazepam. It's the bottles of Emesis Blue. Emesis diazepam. 1963? That thing's expired! Oh wait, no, it's 64 now, isn't it? I thought it was 68 for a second. Ibuprofen. Oh. Oh. Archibald? He's dead, isn't he? Fritz is dead. Welcome to the land of the dead. Oh, I don't like that smile. I don't like that smile either. For the movie disguised as a commercial for Emesis Diazepam? Wait, what? Interesting. It's the respawn thing, isn't it? It's an orb. The orb. Maybe we could watch a trailer. We'll see. We'll go see what. Oh, those are the bodies in the loop. I didn't realize that earlier. My brain was like looking at it like it was a pattern. Oh, he respawned back at the burning Conacher Mill. Oh no. I don't recognize the bodies in the loop! Alright, that was really cool. I don't think there's... There is something. Okay, it's just the fade out. Okay. No, stop. It wouldn't play it because this was in my watch later. So it went into the next thing. So let's go look at the Fortress films real quick. Entropy 2 Reloaded. Murder Inc. teaser. Snapshots SFM. Final trailer. Here's the ad one. Definitely the Emesis Pharmaceuticals. But Spy's Disguise, that's it. It's 30 minutes? That's the Spy's Disguise, I think, is the like weird, intermittent, somewhat tied in. Do we want to, how much time do we have? It's 3:30. Do we want to watch Spy's Disguise? No credit, shaking my head. It's made by like 2 dudes. Yeah, 6 years ago. I mean, Emesis Blue was made 2 years ago. Its first trailer was 6 years ago. Amazing. And there's M. Fantastic. All right. The picture into the thumbnail of the movie is amazing. This one at the end of the movie, is that what you're talking about? Where it goes from like the picture of Fritz and Jeremy to then like panning into like the darkened or undersaturated black and white version. Yeah, I think this is really good. If they're making others, like it looks like they are with whatever this is, and then whatever Murder Inc. is, like they're still making stuff. They're still making stuff. It takes roughly, it looks like 4 months for them to release like a trailer of something. But like, if they keep going, Emesis Blue was so fucking good. I'd love to see these people like progress into making some other stuff and more stuff in the future. They're working on a sequel. Oh, that's gonna be cool. Oh, that's gonna be cool. But that has been 3.5 hours, guys. I think we're gonna call it here. I think we'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow for sure. At what are we doing tomorrow? Tomorrow's Prey. That's right. Tomorrow is Prey. Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and close that, and we will see who we are going to raid. Is the sequel to Emesis Blue? Oh, okay. Interesting. Eat, Love, Pray. Shut up. No. No. Huh, Zebby's not live anymore, but is she? Wait, no, Zebby's not live. For some reason it was still saying like she was still live. M's just started. Why don't we go give... I was gonna raid Jane, but I think Jane is doing... I don't know why, but Jane's title is Raw Next Question, and I think we're just gonna raid M. Because... M is just starting. I don't think there's... Let me see. Yeah, okay, yeah, we're gonna raid a Mookie. What do I do for raid message, you guys? Something like, let's do the new shock emote. Oh no, it doesn't show up over here. Hold on, I need it over here. Okay, so we're gonna use the new shocked emote, and it's gonna be TF2 horror is actually good. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow, noon CST. We're gonna be playing Prey, and I'm gonna try to get through as much of it as I possibly can again. I lost my medical license. Well, damn. All right, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for enjoying the show. Good night.